We just landed in New York, which is one of my favorite cities, and it's a little mother-daughter trip. So it's Mia's birthday. I asked her, what do you want for your birthday? She says, I want to go to New York. Her first trip to New York was when she was 3 months old. So here we are again, but before mother-daughter, let's go for lunch and meet one of my amazing friends, David Shingy, who's also called the Digital Prophet. Let's go.
The way that Sonia and I met is that it's a funny story from my perspective, because I get to speak to audiences that are primarily, marketing and leaders and, all of that good stuff. And so I asked to do this weekend in Miami, and I'm thinking, yeah, this is going to be pretty dope. I come into this hotel and there are people walking around with swimmers on and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm in Miami. And then suddenly this glamorous lady comes out of the middle of nowhere. Within milliseconds, I knew that she was awesome. But the crowd that I met with isn't my normal crowd. And the topics that are being talked about aren't my usual topics to be associated with. So I thought I was going to be a lamb to the slaughter. So when I get up to present, it was a hootenanny for me, and people just sort of sitting there going, what just happened? And then the next moment, Sonia gets up to present, and people are like, what the hell happened? But they're standing on their chairs and dancing and jumping up and down. It was just this wonderful human moment. Like that bird almost running into me.
I speak of you
all
the time. I'm around speakers all day long. But how he captivated the stage, how he spoke, the wisdom in this man and the humility and just who he is, I was like, you're unbelievable.
We approach a very similar topic in a radically different way, but we end up at the same path. That for me is, that alignment, awesome, because sometimes people don't get it.
And that's okay.
I totally respect that.
I'm really okay with people not getting it. Last year, at this exact moment, I remember being on my treadmill and going and calling you and saying, I'm just bored. I'm just bored. I was like, I'm bored of my business. I'm like, I want to go bigger. What does that even look like? I'm bored. And I called you and I was like, what are you doing this week? Can I come see you? And we sat down, and that's exactly what I needed. To sit down, to take a moment, to just clear space, and that's when it got really clear.
Yeah, and you're a constant creator, so you're an output. So when does the input happen? And I think it's incredible because you have a mind-body balance. You're very healthy all the way around. And maybe that's when that happens. Most people actually come up with great ideas when they're not thinking about the problem they need to solve. Happens when they run, happens when they walk the dog, happens when they pick up the kids, happens in the shower. Some people sleep it through, which is incredible, so they sleep with a pad beside them. All those things happen kind of in the subconscious because you're not forcing the problem to be solved. There's this technique I learned back in my early 20s, and it's called Zen writing. You ever heard of this thing?
No.
Physical, pen and paper, you write down as many things that could solve the problem you're trying to solve in this unconscious way for 2 minutes. And then you sit back, you look at it and think, I'm going to read this, and if there's something that's powerful, I'm going to continue it. If not, put it away, get on with your day. But do that several times throughout a day will allow you to be able to dig out, shake it off, and then move into that mode of, I'm not going to force it to the end.
Yeah.
It's like cramming for study. You're crashing in the test. And that allows you to just sort of consciously say, I'm creating space in a way that isn't forcing the problem to be solved.
Oh, for me, thank you. Oh my gosh, are you excited, Mia? Wow. They understood their passion, they crafted it. And then they go through the struggles, they go through that, but they don't have
what's the rating on 10?
any way to struggles and unbelievable lessons to
10.
So good to see you back.
All right, guys, We are rolling in the streets of New York. We're heading to our hotels. We're gonna drop off some bags. We had an amazing breakfast, lunch with Shingy, and now we're gonna go see my friend Craig Siegel at Central Park. Ready? Okay, so here's a little mom tip. I spend money on experiences. I asked my daughter, it's my daughter's birthday, and I told her, Mia, what do you want to have for your birthday? Do you want a party or do you want an experience? And what did you answer?
To come to New York.
And last night when I put her to bed, I said one thing. I said, Mia, you're gonna remember this trip. You're gonna be 30 years old and I'm gonna be like 35. And you're gonna be like, Mommy, I remember the trip we had in New York when I was 10 and that was the most epic trip. So remember this, guys, your kids will remember experiences. So take them camping, take them on experiences. They're not gonna remember the extra toy you got them.
How you doing? So much better.
Wow. Okay, great.
That's good.
I'm so glad we were able to make this happen.
Yeah. I like when things are
Love
just
you.
so
I feel like I've known you
simple.
for a while.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Do you know he's coming out with a book? Do you know what his book is called? The Reinvention Formula. Tell me about it.
Yeah. I think that so many people right now are settling and know that they're here for something more than they're currently doing. And I know that because that used to be me before the pandemic, and I put this all together.
Yes.
So many people, like in my community and stuff, like they get so excited, they get fired up, they want to do other shit like you, like me. And then they get a little momentum and they stop. And I'm curious, why do you think they stop?
Why do I think they stop?
Yeah.
Because the second it gets hard, or they get into a little bump in the road, or there's fear, or there's imposter syndrome, or there's what will people think, or your vision's just not even big enough, or you're not mission based. Like I can go on.
Yeah. I think the fear of judgment is a big one, sadly. What are other people gonna think?
Yep.
What if I look silly?
Yep. And chips.
One of the many things you do so well is you showcase that you can have it all. People think like, oh, if I'm doing this, then I can't do that. If I'm starting a
one
business,
or
then I
the
can't
other.
have a kid.
Yeah.
Or can't work out. You don't get it, there's no time. No, you showcase, that's bullshit.
Yeah, you get it
You
in,
want
you
to,
wake
you
up,
will.
you get it in. And, but
That's
you
it.
become a beast too. Like, it's this like, also, you know, you get to mastery. Like, I think that also, my thing is social sometimes makes people kind of compare, but I'm like, I haven't been doing this 2 years. Like, I've been doing this since I'm 20 years old. Like, I've been...
So what, like 3 years ago?
Exactly. I'm like, I've been an athlete my whole life. Like, I've woken up and got it in and boxed and ran and played sports. And, you know, like, if you want to get results in your life, like, you actually have to get to work. Alors, c'est Sonia en direct de New York City avec Craig. Dis bonjour.
That's right, whatever she said, 100%.
100%. Listen, that's a wrap, guys. We had a blast. Now it's time for him to come to Montreal, because we're going to take over Montreal as well together, and then the world.
Done and
I
done.
can't wait. The book, all kinds of things. Stay tuned. Happy to be your friend, my love.
Same, so good to see you, as always. I feel like we know each other 20 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
30 years.
Just getting warmed up.
That's it. So that's it. That's a wrap. No more friendship. All Mia. All daughter time. And the reason why it's so important to do that is I want to see New York through her eyes. I want her to remember these mother-daughter moments. I want her to experience it. That's why I do what I do. And I just want to see it through my daughter's eyes. So let's go play, guys. So the most important reason why I take my kid everywhere is because, like, why do we do this? Why do we work so hard? Like, I work so hard. New York was my second home for so long, and I remember bringing her to New York at 3 months old, and I was like, I can't wait to be taking her on experiences, for her to experience the world. You know, work is great and it's wonderful, but taking a step back, putting your phone away, turning it off, and just going to play and just going to have fun with your kids is probably the best gift that you can ever have, because they're not going to remember the presents, they're gonna remember the moments, they're gonna remember the times with you, and they're gonna remember just the moments where you just took her on a fun experience. Mia's Brooklyn Bakery.
Can we go?
New York.
That's a wrap.
Hope you enjoyed your day with us. We're off to do more mother-daughter things. Enjoy. Bye-bye.